Anyways, block and strike. It doesn't get through this way, so I want this type of thing. I can even visualize an attack, so perhaps he's striking and I block and I come around. And then you can come in and you can try to get behind him, try and go for a choke or so. The elbows, the 9 to 12, which is illegal in MMA, but I'm here in the Zen-Dragon cave where I do some of my solo training, and I'm going to demonstrate a lot of striking with b.o.b, close quarter stuff for self-defense, where it's really nice to be able to use b.o.b because you can hit him in the groin rather than the stomach, because he's not a training partner, he won't get hurt, and you can also connect not only strikes but also with stuff like eyepokes, or you can do stuff like this with the headbutt. So you can do a lot of stuff for self-defense, but I'm also going to mix in some of the more tricky techniques which I would more likely use against a trained opponent, or if it was self-defense it would only be if I had a lot of space. I'm going to mix it up and perhaps even use a few weapons, we'll see. Alright, let's go. And so this dummy is going to move around as I strike it because there's not that much water here in the bottom, but I'm just going to adapt to whatever position he is in. Right now he's kind of frontal, and normally I'll place him either in an orthodox stance or southpaw stance to be able to really work in those positions, but I'm just going to address the way he's positioned. You want to also sometimes block or even like slip a jab or something. Right now he's in very close range, so I can't really use my kicks. So I'm going to clinch, perhaps duck under, get the back, or something like that. I'm going to push him because I want to practice my kicks as well. That's more like it. Yeah, there's a lot of different strikes you can do with the b.o.b. So now, towards the end, I'm just going to show you a little bit with some weapons. So here we got the tonfa, and I'm going to use only close range weapons because there's not a lot of space here. So these sort of weapons would be more if I was out of an open area. Anyways, block and strike. been a little while since I've used the tumbler, as you may be able to tell. And then going to use this one, or perhaps the knife even, which works even better in close range. So the knife, I'm just going to try and aim for the throat if you come around here. So I don't need to put a lot of power into my strikes or anything. I'm more focused on the targets. So if I strike here, that should be it, but I can thrust it again. I can flip it into an ice pick grip if I want. And yeah, that's pretty much it. A lot of times people will do more than one strike like this and this, but if you manage to cut right here, then that's all you need. Now I'm going to use a Chinese military saber. For this one I'm going to strike here once more, just practicing. I don't want to make this mistake and connect with the flat of the blade. And if I want to stab, I'm going to place my hand here for added stability, and I want to come in sideways like this. Especially if it's an area like this with the ribs, because it doesn't get through this way. So I want this type of thing. I can even visualize an attack, so perhaps he's striking and I block and I come around. And then, just for fun, a roundhouse, a tornado kick, most likely, who would already have dropped to the ground before that ever connected. Then, just finally, I'm gonna do a little bit of Nunchaku. And again, you can even visualize like attacks and block, so it's not just a matter of attacking constantly. You can try and keep him at bay, try and use intimidation as a factor. But if you have to strike, then in this position you won't know whether it'll come from the top or if it'll come from the bottom. And you can come in and you can try to get behind him, try and go for a choke or something. Or if you're in very close range, let's say we drop to the ground and I'm using my Nunchaku, so we're here. It's a little bit difficult to throw him because he doesn't have the proper dimensions, but let's say we're down here. I'm going to practice my Nunchaku striking, holding it like this. I'm not going to try and do this, which there's just not enough space for. I'm going to strike like this, perhaps to the throat or something. Once again, I can try and choke, but really I want to strike with these ends. And if it's without a weapon, I want to use my close range weapons as well. The Eyepokes, the 9 to 12, which is illegal in MMA, but like this, something like this. And if it's covering up, I can go to the body, then to the head or something. Or I can even, like I did in my amateur exhibition fight versus Minola, which was MMA rules. I went knees to the body. And that's pretty much it. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope that provided you with some inspiration if you get the chance to train with a b.o.b or even a heavy bag, or just shadow boxing and using visualization just for whatever type of attack you can come up with. Thanks for watching.
After years of free content,
the time has come where I need a helping hand from some of you. You can support me with $3 each month or 5 or 10 for a few extra benefits. Supporting Zen-Dragon via Patreon will probably make no difference to you financially. If you're living hand to mouth, I don't want your money. Then I'd rather you keep them for yourself. Don't worry, I'll be alright. The donations are in place to help cover equipment and other expenses for the channel. Now that I'm also a father, it's more challenging than ever to find the time to create and share free content. But if enough of you support on Patreon, there will come a day where I can cut down my 9-to-5 job, either partially or altogether, which will make it sustainable to continue creating and sharing free content here on YouTube. Even if that does not happen, I'll still continue sharing, but possibly with longer breaks in between. Thanks for listening. Now visit my Patreon, that's patreon.com/Zen-Dragon. I greatly appreciate you for listening and for continually watching Zen-Dragon.